We're with the People's Champ, Michael Davis, 105 kilo superstar. And you just put together a pretty gutsy performance out there. You just want to talk to us a little bit about how you're feeling today?
Considering circumstances in training leading up to this, I'm like pretty happy with the day. No PRs, but got to the meet 7 for 8, I guess you could say. I only took 8 attempts, made 7 of them, so not too bad on the world stage with the judging we have here. I'm not happy with it, but I'm not mad at it.
So throughout the day, you kind of faced some adversity through squats and through bench, little things that you had to do to make little adjustments on the day. What were those?
For bench, I didn't get called on it, but I got like a re-rack. I had to re-rack because my heel wasn't down. So then I just had to change my positioning just a little bit, move my feet slightly more forward than I'm used to in training. So that just changes, your setup just changes a little bit. But like I said earlier, like you got to adjust to the day. You got to adjust like to what your body gives you on the day, but you also have to adjust to what the judges are giving you on the day, how the meet's being ran, all those things. So not an excuse. It's just like what you have to do.
And how are squats feeling?
Squats were good.
Yeah.
Again, considering the prep, squats were good. So happy with squats.
What was going on with your shoe choices and stuff on squats?
I wore heels for the first meet in like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. Again, just because the things we were dealing with in prep. So just places the stress on a different part of your leg. So, yeah, so went with the heels.
But you said you were feeling really strong and like, you know, you probably could have put on flats.
Yeah, once I took my opener, I was like, dang, I'm not feeling my adductor at all. I was like, maybe I should have just throw the flats on. But at that point, I had already been training in heels for like 6 to 8 weeks. And then I also... Yeah, it was just too late at that point. I was like, it's not worth making the change, so I just stuck with him.
All right, and Joey, you want to talk about his performance today?
Yeah, I mean, him, last year at Worlds going all out against, Emil, that was a really good performance from Mikey, and we forced, a seasoned, very good lifter to hit a PR, and he did, and that was like really, 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 tough to lose. But then, we got the rematch at Sheffield, and then again today, and it's like those two guys have just been like going like head up for like the last year. And whenever you have an opponent where you have to go all out, you have to be at your very best. It's very demanding, and I've been saying for a while like we need an off season. We hit Sheffield. We had a quick turnaround to come here, and it was just like one of those things where like most of the time, like if you have a nagging injury and you have to compete again, you can make some adjustments and kind of get around it. But there are going to be times when it's just not, it's going to need more attention. And, there's a lot of really, really good lifters that you guys know as well that they had to go through the same deal. They had to compete at Nationals, go to Worlds, Sheffield, then Worlds again, and it's just like it's really tough. And if you do everything right, you can probably get through it. But like, there's a lot of guys who I know that ran that circuit, and it's just like the more you have to compete, you're just going to start to degrade until you can kind of address what you need to address. And I think considering what Mikey was dealing with, I was like really happy that he even hit that squat after everything. Like I wasn't even sure what to expect, and we kind of just came in with like, we'll hit a super light opener, we'll take a decent jump, see what's there, and then Mikey's really good with like telling you how he feels. So he'll say like, I think I can do this, I think I can do that. He's probably one of the most accurate. Like if he had to call his own numbers, he's like really, really good at that. It's like just getting good feedback from his body, listening to pain signals and things like that. So he hit a pretty decent squat. Bench and prep went really, really well. I don't know if you guys saw what happened on his bench, but he had to re-rack it because they said his foot wasn't down. I was like screaming it like, get your foot down.
I heard you last minute, and then
I was like, get your foot down. And then he still took the attempt. It was a little bit shaky, so like we had to be a little bit more conservative on that. And then on deadlift, it was just one of those things where like we would like to take less attempts if possible, and the way it worked out, we didn't have to take a third, luckily, to hit a pretty solid placement. And I mean, we knew coming in, like, if Anatoly's on point, then it's going to be the Anatoly show. And he was absolutely insane. And it was great to see. And I'm just happy that he's lifting and not, in danger. Yeah.
So, Mikey, you, Mo, and Emil all competed at Sheffield, which was like 11 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So as bigger lifters who takes a little bit more time for recovery and to re-go into new blocks, do you think the timetable was just too close? Because it looked like everyone came in a little bit hurt. All the openers for all three of you were a little bit down. Everyone's total took a little dip. Do you think that had a huge impact on the performance overall for the weight class?
Most likely. I feel like even if you look through all like the small weight classes, like the people who won Sheffield, it's like their totals are a little bit down. So I think, but that's just normal, right? When you have these big meets back to back, and Sheffield specifically, it's not like a regular big meet. It's like the big meet. So like everybody was training as hard as they could for that meet. And then you got to train back to back. Sometimes things hurt.
So on squat, you opened like super light comparative to like any meets in a long time. And then you took a pretty big jump to your second, and at least from the stands, your second looks pretty good. You took a smaller jump to your third, and you grinded it out. Were you dealing with pain at that point, or it was just that was there on the day?
It wasn't so much pain. It was more like I just didn't feel like I had a lot of legs under me. Just didn't feel like I had my legs under me too much. Even though like the second looked fast, I immediately walked off and said 7 to Will, because I just knew I can feel like when I don't have them, when I don't have that pop, and I knew I didn't have it. So I just told him 7, and then it was 7.
Another thing too
that was perfect.
Another thing too is when you have the heels, you do have a little bit more range of motion, so that like spring out of the bottom is not going to be the same as in your flats. So
if you look at the side, like the video from the side, it's like super deep, too deep.
Yeah, that was actually what people the stands were saying. It's like he's going too deep.
It was too deep.
Yeah. On bench, like a similar situation. Obviously, it wasn't like a miss or whatever, but they made you re-rack, and then like time was going down, and everything like things just looked awkward on that first bench when you retook it, and then you come out for your second, you take the jump, and you blew it up. Right, it moved better than your first, in my opinion. But then your third took a 5 kilo jump, and just it wasn't there. So it wasn't there on the day. Like bench is
that's really all it was. I mean, I know a lot of my lifts look fast all the time, but I know how it doesn't always feel like it looks, you know what I mean? Like it could be close to max effort, but I could just move it fast. And then I can jump 5 or 7, and then it might just be too much, you know what I mean? So that's all that was.
And then deadlift, you were talking about this before, but was the game plan to like only take 2 attempts if necessary?
It was just all how I'm feeling on the day. So I took the second, and just based off how I was feeling, I told them, I was like, if it's not going to change my placing, then I'd just prefer not to take a third. If I would have smoked the second and felt nothing, then I would have took a third. But it's just based on the day.
So the big question, all in all, obviously you wanted to win or second. Obviously this didn't happen today. But just what are your thoughts coming out of the meet? Like, how do you feel? Like, what's your mentals at?
Like I said earlier, I was trying to come in with like no expectations, just because I knew where I was at physically. But then like as the meet starts going, you start having like some expectations, and then I hit 3 squats, and people started missing squats, and I was like, okay, like maybe who knows what could happen. So then my expectations started building. So still like at the end of the day, still a little bit disappointed, but if I think back to like my mindset before the meet, it's like, okay, this is exactly kind of where I thought I might end up. But it's just like as the meet started going, I started getting a little excited. But yeah, it's all good.
So this past year has been like a bit of like a hurricane, just in terms of like you had that crazy battle at Worlds, then you had a long off season or whatever, an 8-month like time period, just but like to go hard for Sheffield. Then you had Sheffield, you had a really short turnaround back to Worlds. Now that this long short period is over, what's next? Like now that you have some time before anything super pressing.
Talked to Joey already, talked to Kedrick, my nutritionist, and we're going to do like an off-season body recomp, maybe like some bodybuilding work, less low bar squats, less sumo, maybe no low bar squats and no sumo, just for a little bit, just give my body a break, get 100% healthy, and then at that point I'll decide what meet I'll do next. But as of right now, I have nothing in mind. Just getting healthy is the main thing right now.
Michael, you faced a lot of adversity today. You've also faced a lot of adversity so far in your career, but yet you've always made it onto these biggest stages. throughout your career, Sheffield, Worlds back to back. And I just wonder how do you mentally get through that adversity and keep such a positive mindset? Like today, you were in such high spirits the whole time. You looked like you were having a lot of fun out there. And just, what is it? What's the mental edge that you have?
That's a good question.
He knows what it is.
I got one goal, and that's to win the world championship. So until that happens, I'm gonna just keep showing up and keep coming back. Just annoying everybody. I don't know. I'm gonna be here until it happens.
Yeah. Real quick, I just think when you come in and you have no expectations, you're just kind of like, hey man, I'm just lifting. I'm just lifting. I'm taking what my body gives me. The pressure's not on me, and it's easier. I could tell you from experience because I have lifters at the top, lifters in the middle, lifters in the bottom, and it's like when you're punching up, it's like way easier because you're like, I don't have nothing to lose. When you're at the top, you've been at the top, you're like swatting everybody down, like trying to maintain it. So it can be cumbersome. But yeah, I think Mikey's not going anywhere.
And last question is just, what does it mean to you to be back here at the World Championships and to have your family sitting out there in the front row with watching and cheering you on? And what does it mean? I mean, at this point in your career, you're an OG, even though you're still a young man. You've been competing for a long time. Does it get old coming out here to the World Championships? So what does it feel like?
No, it never gets old. Joey talked about this recently. Like, we don't know how many opportunities we have to be here on the biggest stage. So it's like every single one you have to cherish and like enjoy it. That's another reason why I was trying to enjoy it so much, because it's like,
I'm here.
Who knows? Yeah. Like, what if I get locked
down
God forbid,
again?
But what if like something tragic happens, or I can't use my legs, or I don't know, some crazy shit happens?
It's like, especially when everything got locked down, it was like,
or that too.
Man, I'm really happy I did that last Arnold I did in 2020, because if I wouldn't have done that, that would have really been unfortunate. So it's just one of those things where tomorrow's not promised. You got to take it when it's there. Those three guys in his weight class that did Sheffield, they could have been like, Anatoly's coming in like hot, like there's no point. But they all like you guys said, they all took a little dip to their total. They're all beat up. Everybody's like battered, but you're still like, I'm here. You don't know how many times you're gonna get to be here. Also, anything can happen. Somebody can bomb out. Somebody can get hurt. And you just gotta take it. And you can't be afraid of, especially like new lifters are like, oh, when should I compete? If you're able to, at whatever your level is, just do it. You know what I mean? But yeah, they all had the same mindset, and it's very interesting that all three of those guys were just like, you know what, like, we're beat, and we're probably not going to hit a PR total, but we're still going to show up, and we're still going to give it all we got.
All right, well, that was the last question. We'll get you out of here. We're super proud of you, Michael, and you're a big inspiration. You're the people's champ. The fans are behind you in the U.S. especially. We're all rooting for you, and we just can't wait to see what you do next. So congratulations on a great, gutsy performance out there today.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
That it?
Oh, sorry. Hey.
All right, we've got the 4-time world champion,
Hey.
It's 4 now?
the world record breaker, the queen of powerlifting, Amanda Lawrence. Congratulations on your huge performance today, Amanda.
Hey, thanks.
How are you feeling about it?
I was feeling really, really strong today, which was kind of surprising because, we just came off of Sheffield, huge performance there. didn't know how my adductor was going to be feeling because I strained it a month and a half ago. But, I mean, we just hit a world record squat. What did we break it by, like, almost, like,
A good amount.
like three and a half keys, or 2.5? 2.5 keys.
241.5.
And, like, there was room there. You know, judging was a little tough. Kept getting the 2 to 1s, but,
I think you broke it by like 7 keys because it was
What?
249, right?
240. No, it was 246 and a half.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, that deadlift, I'll probably be kicking myself a little bit after the fact. But the fact we were even able to load that up, given the injury I had, I was, you know, stoked to be able to do that. So just missed best lifter barely. It was just in my hand, slipped out. But they know I'm still gonna be here. So.
Yeah. So are you even more fired up now then? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, like, give me some time. An off season. I mean, it's gonna be dangerous next
We
time I
keep
compete.
saying that a lot, huh? I need an off season.
Yeah, I mean, like, seriously though. I mean, yeah.
But
But
what were you just gonna say? You said you're gonna be dangerous when you're back.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I just strained my adductor a month and a half ago, and we still loaded up 589, and that had speed. Granted, it didn't lock out, but and hit a world record squat. I mean, we almost took this whole meet, right? Still won, but yeah, I think with an off season, we'll be able to 650 plus for sure.
How many times have you watched that deadlift video since the competition's been over?
It's only been like an hour.
It's been like 2 hours.
Probably like, I don't know.
7.
Yeah, probably like that.
You've been watching it a lot. I've been
Yeah,
watching
like
it.
the next time we deadlift, like it's gonna be 5 reds, like guaranteed.
Yeah.
That'll be nuts.
Yes.
I love that. All right, Joey, you want to talk about Amanda's performance and just how proud you are?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. Somebody had their phone out. I was like hanging out with these like Swedish kids all weekend, and they had their phone and they were just showing me everything. And they showed me like it was the girls' like final standings for her weight class, and it was just she's almost like 100 kilos away from the next girl. You know what I mean? 100 kilos. That is a very extremely rare thing that you're ever gonna see ever. Like this may be the last time you ever see someone that is so like astronomically, you know, dominant and far out ahead for the women. And to have that big of a cushion, I mean, she's like in her own universe. She worries about other things. Like she doesn't have to worry about like placement, need to pull for this, pull for that, which she totally has the killer instinct to do it, but it's just nobody's close. And it's just like and me, I'm always like, okay, like, you know, someone might come out of nowhere, you never know, one of the other girls might move up, which will probably be the only, like, you know, if there is going to be like competition, it's probably going to be someone either from below that's around the 600s coming up, or a new girl comes out of nowhere, or I'm not too sure. But I'm just happy that she got through it. She's not hurt. Everything's good. Like, you know, another world title. You said four world titles in the beginning. I was like, dang, it's already been 4.
Yeah.
Would have been 5, but, you know, the whole world stopped working. but yeah, it's she's in a very special position, and it lets us have fun with it, you know?
So how does this Worlds feel compared to other ones? Like, I mean, it's not the first time, but it's been a couple years already where you come in and you know that the second your opening deadlift hits the ground, the meet's over, or at least in terms of winning. So how does it feel?
I mean, I'm just grateful to be at every world championship that I've had the opportunity to be at. So I guess this Worlds felt different in a sense where I didn't feel like I had a ton of time to prep for it. So, like, to be able to go out there and do what we did, pretty proud of what we accomplished. So, yeah, and, like, this was this, like, the most athletes of any world championship we've been at, right?
Yeah, it was the biggest Worlds ever.
Yeah, so it's really cool to see the sport continue to grow, and, you know, I can only imagine, like, 5 years down the road where we're going to be at. So, yeah.
So obviously we talked about deadlift a little bit, right? You pulled for the best lifter. You got it really close. Ultimately, you didn't get it. You said next time you're hoping to have 5 reds on the bar.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question, which is, so squat, you've broken 3 times in the last 12 weeks, the world record.
It's actually
And
kind of wild.
It still looks like you have more on squats.
You're right.
How far do you want to try to push squats? Do you have a goal? Do you have a number that you would like to hit?
Like 260.
Match the flats PR.
Like 260 would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we got a ways, but getting as close to 600 as possible. Like if she does 6 on squat and 6 on dead is gonna go soon.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like you don't have to do it. You're good. Like that's that's already like out of this planet. But yeah, that's a good driver. Shoot for the stars.
So you talked about also it would be nice to have like an actual off season since you didn't have one. Do you plan on taking a nice long off season and then just waiting until Sheffield to compete again? And this way you have time to get fully healthy, rebuild, and then obviously you're at a disadvantage in Sheffield because you just push your world records all the time. So do you want to like take the time so you can come in like the strongest you've ever been and just literally just smash all these numbers?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the plan. I mean, like I said, give me some time. You're gonna see something dangerous. So yeah, just got to keep training, staying healthy, and long off season is when I have fun. And when I'm having fun, I'm strong.
Yeah. Amanda, we were talking a lot about your squat and your deadlift, but how is your bench feeling? What was going on with your bench today? Because it looked like your third attempt was like your cleanest and best attempt of the day.
I was getting called for, I think, elbows on one, and then I think there was up and down motion on my second. Things I've never been called on. I just kind of locked in on the third, made some adjustments in the back with the coaches, and kind of gave a talk with what kind of handoff I'm looking for. I don't want to say that can make or break it, but, I mean, it definitely helps. But, yeah, I mean, bench was feeling strong going into this meet. At the end of the day, it comes down to also the judges, right? Like, what's going to pass, what's not. So there's always room for improvement on bench, looking to hit 300 in a meet someday. So.
And I think you mentioned during the competition we were talking, I think you said that you've been hitting like the same third attempt on bench for a while. Is that right?
Well, I mean, I'd like to think we came a long way since, South Africa. I missed both my second and third attempts for my hips coming off the pad. So, like, to be able to come back and, like, hit what I was before, white lights, that to me is a win in itself, and I can just keep building off of that. But, yeah, there's definitely room for improvement. We can, get back in the lab and maybe dial in the technique. So,
she did hit, like volume PRs with bench, and she did, like, show progress with bench. And a lot of the times there's, like, a disconnect between you hit a number in the gym, and now your mind's, like, in love with that number. So you can muscle it, but your technique isn't there to hit it clean yet. So that comes after, and then once you put the two together, then you can actually hit it.
Yeah.
So even though the number's the same, that doesn't mean that. Yeah. So I mean.
Yeah, compared to the first two.
Her squat was like I was like, usually her squat is like much slower than that. When I saw her opener, I was like. It was like she did not cut. It literally was like she did not cut. I do not remember the last time she hit an opener squat where it was like really fast. And I was like, okay, she's going to be good for the higher number, which makes me wonder, do we chip that a little bit more? Do we get to pull a little bit less? These are things that haunt me. But, yeah, it was good. It was good.
So we've talked about squat. You're the best squatter in the world by a mile. Deadlift also. People want to know, when are you going to make a run for the bench? That's the only thing left that's challenging you.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're trying, man. It's hard to be the best at all three. I did get a bench gold this meet, whatever one this is. So,
there you go.
I'm still like hungry for more, obviously. Like I said, I'd like to hit 300 in meets, and it will happen. It's just, give me some time.
So Joey was mentioned how this time squats, like it moved like you didn't cut, like it was just a regular day in the gym. How much in general do you have to cut to make weight?
I only did 1.5 kilos this meet. I think the thing that made the biggest difference is I didn't have to hit like a super early morning weigh-in. Like most of the other previous worlds. So like usually I was having to cut weight the night before, sleep on it, depleted for longer periods of time. And then this, today I was just able to do it morning of, and I felt felt good. Didn't have to cut too much. Like I said, only 1.5 kilos. I mean, there's been times I've done almost 3 kilos, so that definitely made a big difference. And I didn't like lose my legs per se for squat today. They were there. They were strong.
So, I mean, if you're feeling strong with 1.5, and that's like a good spot to be in. So you don't plan on. I mean, I remember Delaney was telling me how he wanted to get a little bit heavier in the off season, have a little bigger of a cut so he could walk around a little heavier. Do you have any interest in doing that, or you like having the small cut and then not having to worry?
I mean, like, obviously less is easier. I feel like in order to keep improving in this weight class over the years, we've had to do a constant bulk cut situation so we can, continue stacking on muscle mass. So, yeah, I mean, this off season I'll probably try to put on some more size and then cut down, see what more mass we can gain. And, like I said, bring a dangerous package to Sheffield.
So we mentioned that there's no competition. Yeah, there's no competition like coming in the future. As far as we know right now, there's nobody that we can see like is coming right for you. How long do you plan on just doing this? Like, are you somebody that would like to just keep stacking chips, like walk away with 10 world championships at the end of the decade?
I mean, that'd be pretty cool to say that. I just keep thinking down the line, talking to my grandkids, like, we did this back in the day. But, yeah, I mean, there's some other meets coming up that I don't know if we can speak on yet or not.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but all I know is I like the idea of off season. I like the idea of just fixing, repairing, resetting everything mentally, physically, and then that's pretty much that.
And Amanda, this is the first time I've seen you kind of like in the warm-up room, in the tunnel, coming out for your final deadlift, and you just like get yourself into like worked up into a frenzy. And what are you thinking like when you're going out for that third pull?
I just got to get out of my mind to pull. I mean, that was 589 pounds, so I mean, just got to do what you got to do. We all have our own little things, but yeah, I got to be in that crazy mindset in order to pick something up like that. Because, I mean, how do you go up to something like that so casually? But that's just me. That's just the kind of lifter I am. I think everyone. I mean, watching over the years, I'm maybe more of an intense lifter. But I mean, you see me outside of powerlifting, and it's definitely the opposite.
Yeah,
so.
that's what's so interesting is that you're such a sweetheart outside, like right now, such like a bubbly personality and everything. But then, I mean, you like turn into like a different person back there in that tunnel, and it was just really cool to see. And I think it's just awesome that you're still so motivated and so fired up, despite having accomplished basically everything possible out there. So it's really a big inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and we don't have any other questions. Do you have any more questions for Amanda? We don't have any more questions, but just want to say thank you. You've been a huge inspiration. I think that a big reason why the sport is growing the way that it is because of what you've done. You've inspired the next generation of lifters on both men and women's side, and we just can't thank you enough for everything you do, and just keep doing it and keep being you.
Yeah, of course, yeah, thank you.
Yep, and congratulations once again, world champ.
Sick.
All right, that's it.
Wow,
How was the
can't believe
team
it's over.
on like placements, like overall?